Hi, welcome to this episode of Hidden Creatures, podcast about McFap with father and son. I am Bo.
I am Rainey.
And I'm the father and he's the son in this outfit. Today we are not interviewing anybody. We have each chosen a creature to do a little bit of research on. The creature I've decided to research on today is called the Skeppsra.
And I am researching the Batsquatch.
Batsquatch. Cool. Yeah. So before we get into our creatures, a couple things. One, we are not professionals. We're not professional podcasters or cryptid hunters or researchers or anything like that. We're both just interested in these things and their connections and the role they play in culture, whatever. Yes, we're just sort of taking this time to explore that. We are a family-friendly podcast. It's something that Rainey and I enjoy doing together, so we hope that other families can enjoy, maybe hopefully listening to it together. We just noticed that there weren't very many family-friendly podcasts out there dealing with this subject area, where we found a lot that were sort of aimed at younger kids, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And then a lot aimed at adults, but nothing that sort of spread that gap. And so that's what we aim to create with this. Again, we are not professionals. We are figuring this out as we go along. Hopefully it gets better as we go along. So there may be some editing things. You may hear our dogs barking in the background. But we're doing our best. We're trying to figure it out. Hopefully it gets better. Today's episode, like I said, it's just going to be Rainey and I chatting about the Skeppsra and the Batsquatch. But before we get into that, I think we need to discuss some music. And what music do you think we're going to discuss, Rainey?
I don't know.
What recent band have you discovered that sort of fits into the McFap, meaning mythical, cryptid, fae, alien, paranormal?
Gwar.
And what song in particular from Gwar has your interest piqued?
Pink Pony Club.
Yes. So recently we came across a version of Gwar singing Pink Pony Club. For those of you who don't know who Gwar are, they may not be family friendly at all. But I was about Rainey's age when I first discovered Gwar. Gwar is a heavy metal group known for their theatrics and their persona, and their persona is that they are a band of aliens who have come to this world, and they sing about their adventures. But most recently, they did a cover of Pink Pony Club. I think it's spectacular. Rainey, how do you feel about it?
I think it's good.
You think it's good? Do you like Gwar's version or the original version better?
Gwar's.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, so Gwar sort of falls into that alien category, so I don't think we're too far off base talking about this. Regardless, we like it. It's good. It's entertaining. I don't think it's on any of like the streaming services. I think you have to go to YouTube to see it. So I don't think it's on like Spotify or Apple Music or anything like that. I think you can only watch it on YouTube. And if you're watching it with some younger people, you might want to maybe pre-watch it first before you let some of the younger contingent watch. But anyway, with that, Rainey, is there anything you want to talk about before we get into our creatures today?
I don't think so.
Okay. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
Would you mind going first?
Sure, I will go first. So, as I mentioned earlier, looked into this Skeppsra. I am not pronouncing that correctly. Please forgive me. I'm an American. I have an American accent. I am horrible at pronouncing. Apparently, I'm horrible at saying American words as well. Regardless, it is spelled Skeppsra. And what that is it's a ship's gnome or a ship's spirit or a ship's sprite. Basically, it falls under the Fae umbrella, and it's a creature that lives on ships and boats. Used a couple different resources. I couldn't find a lot out there on this creature. I'll get more into why I chose this creature a little later. Couldn't find a lot out there on it. So in Swedish folklore, the term ra, R-A, as in Skeppsra or however you pronounce it. It's used to refer to a certain group of Fey-like creatures, and each of these creatures is tied or linked to a specific environment where they live, or they rule, or protect, or they haunt, or they dwell, or whatever. Like I said, today we're talking about the Skeppsra, which live on ships and boats. They are generally described as small bearded men, typically dressed as seafaring folk, so like sailors or ship's captains or whatever. And sometimes they're described as having pointed ears, but generally more like dwarven or gnomish looking than elven looking, and more of like gnome in size. I believe gnomes are smaller than dwarves. However, Wikipedia says that they are strictly female. They were the only resource I found that said they were female. Every other resource I saw said that they are typically male. Not saying that they can't be female, just like resources said that they are typically male. Generally, it's a good thing to have Skeppsra hanging out on your boat. They're often seen as protector spirits. They're attributed to warning sailors about bad weather and other hazards that could affect the boat. They also alert sailors to issues with the boat itself, so not just rough weather or rough water, but also stuff like rotten wood or termites or other structural issues. Just things going wrong with the boat that need attention. They'll let sailors know about it, or sometimes they'll take care of fixing those things themselves. If there's a Skeppsra living on your boat, it expects you to be respectful. They are known to punish sailors who mistreat a craft, who are drunk or careless, and who get overconfident in their abilities. So they don't want you being boastful, disrespectful, or just being silly. They expect, if you are on their boat, they expect you to respect it and to respect them. And when you don't, they'll let you know. One theory attached to the Skeppsra is that they don't choose an already existing boat. If you have a boat and it doesn't have one on it, there's nothing you can really do to attract it. It's believed that there were once wood sprites whose tree was cut down and then used to make part of the boat. So rather than being attached to the boat, they're attached to the lumber that was used to make the boat. The origin of the Skeppsra is linked to a German tale called again, this is my American pronunciation of things, I apologize, the Klabautermann, the Klabautermann. And that story is when a child dies that is unbaptized and a tree grows on top of its grave, the ghost of the infant will inhabit the tree. Sometimes the lumber of the tree would be used to build a ship, and the ghost would become Klabautermann, which is basically a protective spirit bound to the ship. Much like the Skeppsra, these beings would appear as small, bearded men. The most recent observation of one that I could find was on a 3-masted shooter named the Alva, built in 1939 with its home port in Stocksund. It's believed to have no less than 2 ship spirits on board. Sources where I got my information, one is a book called Wesen by Johann Egerkrans, and that's spelled John. His last name is spelled Egrkrans. He's written quite a few books. I wouldn't necessarily say these are like research quality books, but I think they'd get you, going in the right direction and will give you a taste of the general idea of a creature. The illustrations of the books are amazing.
They are.
Yeah. And he's written some other books too. Rainey, do you know some of those other books off the top of your head?
Dragons, Undead, and then he wrote one on Norse gods.
Yeah, and I think we covered all of them. So in Wesen, I'm going to read to you a little bit out of Wesen real quick. He talks about sometimes what happens when there are multiple Skeppsra on a boat. It says sometimes more than one spirit came along with the timber from the forest, and that would lead to a quarrel between the 2 old creatures about who would be the guardian of the new boat. These fights could be pretty fierce and sometimes degenerate so badly that the whole boat shattered into splinters. Often the conflict could be resolved another way, however, which the following tale describes. The skipper had just built a new boat. Late one night, he heard a dreadful racket coming from the deck, and he went up to see what was going on. That is when he saw 2 little old men in the middle of a tremendous brawl. "Why are you fighting?" asked the skipper. "We're fighting over who will watch over the boat, me or him," answered one Yes, sir. But I've protected the tree that was used to make the timbers ever since it was a little sapling. Then you'll have the ship, said the skipper. But the next boat I build shall belong to the other one. And with this, both old men were satisfied, and all was peace and harmony. Yeah, and that's some other resources. I won't read from them, but I'll just let you know what I used. Like I said, Wikipedia, very short, maybe 2 sentences, not much there. I said Johann Egerkron's book. Also the website www.gracenuth.com, GRACENUTH, www.sknsen.se, and then something called Bestiarium, BESTIARIUM on Tumblr. And maybe that was Beast. Maybe it's supposed to be Beast, and I just forgot to put the A in there. So it's not, if it's not under Bestiarium, check under Beast, BEAST, on Tumblr. And then the reason I chose the Vesson today was I'm a boater myself. I don't like sail a big ship or anything like that. Rather, I do a lot of whitewater rafting. And so I was just drawn to this creature, and I think it would be neat to have one living on my raft, because we'll go out and we'll do multi-day, week-long, up to 3-week-long trips on rivers, and I definitely wouldn't mind having a little creature on there, making sure I don't flip or get into other troubles on the rivers, because sometimes we do really big technical water, and every little bit of help helps. Rainey, do you have any questions?
No.
Okay. Are you ready for yours?
Yep.
Mr. Batsquatch?
I'm going to be talking about Batsquatch. I said at the beginning, Batsquatch is spelled BATSQUATCH. Batsquatch is reported to be a cryptid flying... I don't like how that's written. Batsquatch is reported to be a flying cryptid that is said to closely resemble a Bigfoot, but with bat wings. Common features are pointed ears and an angular head, unlike that of a Bigfoot, but more elusive. The first sighting of Batsquatch was in 1980, and the last that I could find was in 2015. The sighting that I'm going to be talking about happened in April 1994. Brian Canfield was driving his car one night, and then the engine died, and then the dashboard lights fell dark. Although he hadn't applied the brakes, the pickup truck he was driving suddenly stopped, abruptly, square in the middle of the road, there between the edge of the forest and the scrubby, clear-cut field. His headlights cut a hole through the night. He sat wondering what was wrong. Then he saw the feet descending, bird feet, claw feet. Then the legs, the torso, the chest, and the wings, folded, attached to the back of the broad shoulders. Then the head. The creature was 9 feet tall, 30 feet away, had blue-tinted fur and yellowish eyes, then tufted ears and sharp, straight teeth. With the dust rising thud, it landed. Brian Canfield was 18. He was alone and on his way home from Buckley to the isolated settlement of Camp 1, located in Mount Rainier foothills above Lake Kapowsin, Kapowsin. He doesn't take drugs. He's a high school senior, known locally as an average normal kid. It was standing there staring at me, like it was resting, like it didn't know what to think, Canfield says. I was scared. It raised the hair on me. I didn't feel threatened, I just felt out of place. It's looking right at me like in deep stare, like right through me. It's standing perfectly still. It stood like that for a few minutes. Then its fingers twitched, and its wings began to unfold. Those wings were as wide as the road. It turned its head and looked back at me, and started flapping its wings, Canfield said. Then slowly it rose, and so great was the turbulence the truck began to rock and sway. Slowly the creature flew off in the direction of Mount Rainier. A few minutes later, the truck just started, Canfield said. I took off as fast as I could. Do you have any questions or comments?
No, so is Batsquatch primarily seen sort of out in the Pacific Northwest? So you said it was out near Mount Rainier where that one was seen?
Yeah. And then I think most of the sightings are near Mount Rainier.
Okay. Cool. Why did you pick the Batsquatch?
I thought a Sasquatch with bat wings was a thing.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Yeah, when you first started talking and describing the Batsquatch, in my head I heard you say butt wings instead of bat wings, and so I was picturing like Bigfoot with wings coming out of his butt, and I don't know who that would be. I don't know if I ran into a butt squatch. I don't know if that would be terrifying or I would laugh too hard to do anything else. Well, and then it would probably like eat me. But no, you didn't say butt squatch. You said bat squatch with bat wings and not butt wings.
And I couldn't find how big the road was.
Okay,
So.
gotcha. Okay, well, cool. Would you have anything else with the Batsquatch to share?
Oh, well, I source this from pararational.com. PARARATIONAL.com.
Any other sources or just that one today?
Just that one.
Okay, cool.
And the article wasn't very well written, so I had to use proper grammar in some places.
Gotcha. Well, that's good. I'm sure most people appreciate that. Okay. What do you know? What the next creature you're gonna be interviewing or not interviewing? Do you know what the next creature you're gonna be researching is?
Let me look at my Google Doc sheet.
Okay.
I'm going to be researching the Alabama white thing.
The Alabama white thing. So I have a list of these things. I think I might be going to Belarus and do research on the, again, forgive my American pronunciation, the Lazavik. I think that's what it's called. Lazavik is what I believe my next one will be. And yeah, cool. So with that, this is our third episode. I hope people are finding it and enjoying it. I hope you enjoyed the last episode, which was with Sarah, where we were talking about the guy in the moth thing, aliens, UFOs, aliens, and there's other just weird things that you encounter in high plains and Rocky Mountains. Our next episode will be with MC, and we will be discussing ghosts and cats. Ghosts and cats is what we will be discussing in the next one. And I'm sure we'll get off topic and discuss some other things as well. So that will be our next one. And yeah, if you have any comments, feel free to shoot us an email at McFapPodcast, so MCFAP PODCAST at gmail.com. On Instagram, we're not the best at keeping up with our social media. We'll get better. But Instagram, it's at McFap_podcast. Facebook, just look up McFap. And Blue Sky, it's McFap.bsky.social. And we really didn't get into McFap too much on the show today. Vic, do you wanna describe McFap, Rainey?
McFap, which is spelled MCFAP, means mythical, cryptid, fae, alien, and the paranormal.
Good job. So when we say McFap, that's what we mean. We're placing all these things under a big umbrella. Please send us comments, questions, whatever. If you have a creature you want us to look into, send us an email about it. Or if you have had an interesting experience that falls under that umbrella, reach out as well. We'd love to talk to you. Again, we do our best to keep this family friendly and entertaining. And until next time, I am Bo.
I am Rainey.
And thank you so much for listening. We hope you have a great day with some amazing adventures.